Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am so glad that you're joining us today again for another Friday live video with my co-host, Delaney Bravo. How are
Hey.
you doing, Delaney?
I am good. It's Friday, so we have some really fun info for you guys, and I'm ready for the weekend.
Absolutely. This is what we have in store for you guys this morning. We're going to go ahead and dive right into the info. We're going to talk about why we think the real estate market is not going to crash this time around. I actually was one of those agents that was around for the last market cycle that we had back in between '07 and 2010. And I can already tell very different indicators with this current cycle that we're in. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight some of the differences in this video. And then Delaney brought in some really good info about what's happening with the mortgage rates, Delaney.
Yes.
And
So
then,
we'll go over that just a little bit and talk about what we're seeing in the market on the mortgage side with some compression, some stuff like that. So we'll make it really easy and kind of go from there.
Absolutely. And then we'll wrap it up with what's happening in Jacksonville this weekend. So let's get right to it. So I brought in an infographic that I'm hoping you guys can see right on the screen. Are you able to see that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so here's a few reasons why I think that the real estate market is not going to crash this time around. And this is specifically when we're comparing it to the last market cycle that we had in the United States, where there was a drastic shift back in '07, between '07 and 2010. There was a big, drastic market shift. And a lot of people tend to compare what's happening now to what happened then. But there's a few things that I'd like to highlight. And one of them is that the ability to get a mortgage back in '07 and '08 and all the way up to maybe around '09 and 2010 was great. Anyone that was basically had a pulse and a social security number, it seemed like they were getting a mortgage. Where nowadays, banks have definitely taken a more disciplined approach, I would say, to making sure that these buyers are thoroughly qualified, that they are going to be able to maintain those mortgage payments and not wind up in foreclosure. So that's another reason that this market is different from the last market cycle that we had. As you guys can see, back between '07 and 2010, there was just so many foreclosures on the market. And that's when, it became a really heavy buyer's market because there was just so much supply and not so much demand. So it really just created a different market dynamic, where in the market that we're in now, yes, there is a shift going on, but it's a very different shift. We don't have that dynamic of a whole lot of supply. In fact, there's very little foreclosures compared to what we had back then in '07 and 2010. There's just a significantly less amount of foreclosures. So that indicator is not coming into play with this current market cycle that we're in right now. And then obviously, as we look at, what drives the market, supply and demand, the amount of supply that we had within the last market cycle, again, between '07 and 2010, was much, much greater than what we have right now. Typically, to have a balanced market, what we look for is about 3 months worth of inventory. And as you guys can see, back in '08, we had as much as 10 months worth of inventory. So there was plenty of homes for you guys to pick and choose and negotiate on, and just very different market dynamics, where now we're still operating at just under 3 months of supply. So it's becoming more of a balanced market, but very different than it was back during the last market cycle. And then also, home prices are still continuing to rise. They won't rise as rapid as they did like in 2020 or 2021, where there was just not enough supply, but we can still continue to expect some modest appreciation, or at least that's what the indicators are showing. And between all of those things, just to kind of recap, between, just buyers being a lot more qualified these days, banks taking a much greater look at them being able to obtain a mortgage and giving those mortgages just to people that are able to qualify makes a big difference in this market cycle. The amount of foreclosures that we have are not as much as we had compared to the last market cycle. The supply is much less, for sure, than it was back then. And then the good news is that there's a fair amount of equity. In fact, a significant amount of equity for homeowners these days. So between all of those things, I feel that, even though there's still a market shift, it's not one that's going to make the market crash. So that's what I had to share with you guys. And I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments or reach out to us. And you go next, my friend Delaney.
Absolutely. So yes, all of the stats that Angela just shared are super important, and it's all factual information showing why these times now are not the same as they were. And one thing I'll mention really quickly is how Angela mentioned the guidelines and the tightening on the mortgage, the ability to obtain a mortgage. So in 2015, everything in lending changed. So in 2015, they rolled out new disclosures that have to be given to the buyer. They rolled out what's called a preliminary closing disclosure, and that has to be provided to the clients 3 days prior to your close date. They also restructured all of their guidelines. Oh gosh, I feel a sneeze coming on. I'm so sorry.
Girl. Get it.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry.
God bless you.
Thank you. So yes, whole new set of guidelines, especially guidelines tightening up investment in second homes. So it was true. If you had a social security number, you could show something for income, you could really get a mortgage. And this is where, it didn't create a stable market. Obviously, we saw this. So now the reason why the foreclosures are so much lower is because everybody is really being vetted for their mortgage. So that brings me to kind of where we're at with the interest rates. So the interest rates this week are down to the lowest levels since early February. So what we're seeing right now is what they call compression in the market. So what that means for us and for you as a buyer is that as things are shifting, as we're seeing that inventory level out, as we're seeing the now, I will say that mortgage pre-approvals, mortgage applications are up over the last 30 days. However, banks obviously are lending on homes that were probably already under contract, and those rates were locked in. So as we're seeing a lot of big banks try to restructure things to attack the current market, we're seeing that all of these banks are becoming more competitive with each other because they want to show we have the lowest rate and to use us. So what we're seeing with that is a slight drop in the interest rates. Now, the Fed has had a couple meetings this week, and I want to break down the difference between the federal and treasury rates and the interest rates for mortgages. So the Fed rates, the treasury rates, what you're seeing on Wall Street, all of those things feed into the mortgage rates, but they are not the same thing. So typically as the Fed has these meetings and makes changes, then we'll see it kind of like go over to the mortgage side within a couple days. So the Fed had a couple quick, important meetings over the last week. So I think personally, that's a lot of the compression we're seeing and a lot of the competitiveness between these banks, which is causing a slight shift in our interest rates. However, they are expected to come down maybe a little bit more, but stay pretty stable for the rest of the year. Unless we see any big changes, that is kind of what the prediction is. So what we're seeing is it's an amazing time to buy. This is much more stable. So we had everything in 2007 to 2010. And then we had COVID, which threw everything on its head. And then now we're kind of in a stable market. So those who have been around for a while understand that this is really a normal market. So we're seeing the rates, as you can see, come down with a 30-year FHA at a 5.72. That is amazing. So this is a great time to buy. Wow. An amazing time to get locked in. So if you are looking at a home, now is the time to make that offer and to get under contract so we can secure that lower rate.
And Delaney, this 30-year FHA 5.72%, is that the treasury rate or is that the mortgage rate?
Yes, so I apologize. I didn't touch on that. So this is based off of the Treasury. So what we're seeing
Okay.
is how the rates went down with the Treasury over the last week. Now we're seeing that the rates right now for FHA went down from about a 7% to about a 6.5%, 6.375. So that difference in that chunk right there, this is just a graphic to kind of show how it flows over. I feel like I'm doing a dance. But yes, I'm doing the Macarena, but yes. So basically, we're showing that flow over, and one important thing that I do want to very, very heavily put some emphasis on for you guys is the non-QM products. And non-QM means it doesn't fit inside the traditional mortgage box. So we're talking about bank statement loans where we're simply using bank statements to qualify you. We're talking about foreign national programs where we don't have a social security number or any residency. We're talking about no income loans. We're talking about investor cash flow loans. What we are down payment assistance loans. What we're already seeing is those requirements, because those loans are not as secure. They're a little bit riskier because they're outside that guideline. We are already seeing the requirements for those types of programs to tighten up. So I do have a down payment assistance program that was at a minimum score of 600, and they just posted a bulletin yesterday that they are going to be adjusting their guidelines, and that it's probably going to be very difficult to get anything under a 660 credit score approved. So as we see the rates, yes. So as we see the rates come down a little bit and we see competitiveness in that normal mortgage world with our conventionals, our FHA, our VA, our USDA, we're seeing the non-QM world kind of tighten up their requirements. So that's just something to keep in mind, is you want to make sure that you're checking in with your lender, that you're still pre-approved if you're in one of those programs.
Totally. And, I actually feel pretty good about these programs just being consistent with, making sure that people can repay them. Because, if we start giving assistance for first-time home buyers, to just get all closing costs and all down payment, and they're not really prepared financially, it could put them at risk of potentially, being in harm's way of not being able to make up the payment. So it's really great. I think that banks are taking a closer look and making sure that the people are truly vetted out. And it sounds like that's kind of the direction that memo was for.
Yes. So definitely, I agree with you 100%. And I want to be clear that it does not mean that there's no options if you're under that mark. It just means that, we might have to have a little bit of extra money in the bank left over. We might have to show, that you've paid your rent for the last 12 months. So there's going to be what they call overlays. So there's your base guidelines, and then there's overlays that say, okay, we won't do the loan if they don't meet this, this, and this. So it's just working with a lender who understands the overlays. But yes, it is definitely reflective of a much more balanced market. When things were slower, these non-QM lenders wanted to get their hands on everything they could. But now that everything's picking up a little bit, rates are coming down, they have to also remain competitive, but they also have to make sure that they are getting a return on their investment, and they're not setting themselves up to have a lot of loans that are not going to perform and then are going to foreclose. So everything is much more balanced, and that's kind of where we're at on the mortgage side.
That's amazing. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense for the market to be more balanced. And I'm glad that it's heading in the right direction. That's awesome. All right. So then after this, what we have is what's happening in Jacksonville this weekend.
Done. Okay. Let me share my screen really quick. Oh, wait, I don't know if it's allowing me to. Let's see. Are you able to adjust that? It's not saying, oh, never mind. It's a Friday, y'all. Okay. It's a Friday.
Okay.
I clicked.
And I'm broadcasting from my kitchen this morning because they're working on my AC in my office.
No, you are good. Okay. All right. That should be good if we bring that up. If you are able to.
Let me see. I don't see it on the, oh yeah, I do. This is in the
Okay.
fall. Okay, there we go.
So I picked quite a few quick things. I'm going to run through these quickly. So I don't know if anyone has ever been to a silent headphone party. Have you ever been to one?
No, what kind of party?
Okay, so I've heard of this. I've never been to one, but it's like one thing on my bucket list. So basically, what you do is everybody is, let's say it's like a clubbish setting kind of thing, but everybody has wireless headphones and they put the wireless headphones on, and then the DJ is doing their music, but it's all feeding through the headphones. So essentially, everybody is acting normal, but if you take your headphones off, it's completely silent.
Wow. Well, I think I kind of do this, probably not in a group or party setting, but I do this every day when I go jogging with my dog. I put on my ear pods and I swear there's a party going on in there because that's what keeps me going to get through the run. But yeah, I love the idea. It definitely, it makes you feel like, I love music because it just makes you like engage the emotions and get you more involved. It's a beautiful thing.
I love it too. And I just think it's such a cool idea. I don't know if it's necessarily my jam, no pun intended, but it's off of Old Kings Road. It's from 9:30 to 1:30. So you night owls, this is for
Tomorrow?
you. So that's the 25th.
Oh, it's at night, 9:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Oh yeah, that's a party scene, but it's kind of like a quiet one. So that would be interesting. I'm curious now.
And they have different colors on your headphones. So I thought that was cool. So that's happening tomorrow. So thought that would be fun. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this next one. I am actually going to share my window so I can go through every one instead of just the tab. For some reason, it's window here. Okay, so the next one, and I'll talk about it while we pull it up, is Toontown Street Market Food Truck and Rally. So it is a super, super cool thing. Are you able to get that one up?
Let's see. Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. So I didn't even know this was a thing, but if you look in the picture here, it's called Toontown. And they have a food truck rally and market. So it is going to be off of Talleyrand Ave. So it's going to be downtown, and it's going to be tomorrow from 3 to 8 p.m. So we're going to have food trucks, we're going to have games, kids zone, best pizza, bring your pets, arcades, everything. So this is just a fun one, and it does have free tickets. Sometimes they say that and you don't actually have to buy tickets, but just something to keep in mind. So super, super fun kind of idea. And I think any kid would just love. You got Peppa Pig and Chase and Dora. So I know my 3-year-old would absolutely love this.
Yeah. What's inside the building?
I don't know. I feel like that might be where the market is at because it's called Toontown Monthly Street Market. So it looks like that's where all of the like tables and vendors are.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
I want to check that out.
I know. I thought that was a cool one. And then I also have those that are super duper physical. I have never done one of these, but it's one of those Tough Mudder events. Have you done one?
No, what Tough
Mudder?
Oh, okay. No.
So basically think about it as a 5K, but it's like it has like obstacles in it. So it's usually like through mud, and they go under like army crawl through things and have to go over walls and things. So they usually do them kind of all over Jacksonville. This is off of Otis Road. So it looks like it's over kind of over a little bit downtown, a little bit west side. So that's super fun. I know I did a 5K and it was usually kind of over in that area. So this is something you sign up for, you pay to register, and then you can go through kind of teamwork, getting through it. And it's something that I know a lot of people have done. So I thought that was a kind of a fun one. So you definitely want to go to the website and sign up, but definitely a kind of an interesting one out there.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing those up. I love that. So there's always something fun to get into here in Jacksonville. And if this weekend you find yourself at a place that you're thinking like, oh my God, it would be so great to buy this home, then connect with us, guys. This is the reason why we do these videos. We want to make sure that you guys get the most updated information, that you have your local resources here in Jacksonville to help you through the process of buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Basically the first thing you always want to do as a buyer is get pre-qualified first, make sure that you have all your finances in place. And then that's when I would step in and help you through the home search, through the negotiations, through the writing the contract, the inspections, through basically the whole process. I'm there all the way until you get your keys. So if this is something that you find yourself this weekend thinking about doing, you know exactly how to reach us. I've got my information scrolling from the bottom of the screen. And I also have Delaney. So tell Delaney if you have any words that you want to say before we end the video.
No, and not really. The only thing I would say is that I know that most people are working 9 to 5. And so one thing that in our environment, being real estate agents and loan officers, is we are available for you guys, whether that is at night because you guys just got off work or on the weekends. We understand that that is really when most of the action happens in our industry. So don't ever feel bad for reaching out on a weekend or at night. We're here to help you. And even if you're not looking to buy, if you're watching this, if you know anybody, friends, family, coworkers that could benefit from this info, or even if they don't think they could buy, it's always worth it to take a look and have us put together some options. So we would love to help you.
Awesome. Yeah, perfect. So with that in mind, I hope you guys all have a fabulous week. We will see you again live on next Friday at 10 a.m. Please tune in, and until next time, remember to be kind to one another, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Bye.